Tired of the same old at business events? Well, this is not the same as last year. The podcast where we blow up the boring and lead the charge into the attendee-first era of business events. I'm Clare, Forestier, a business event MC obsessed with transforming audiences from passive observers into dynamic participants at events. Each week we'll challenge the conventions, share actionable tips, and hear from fellow event rebels who are mastering the engagement game. Imagine your attendees begging for more after your next event. That's the magic of prioritising their experience. Ready to ditch the dull and create corporate events your audiences will rave about? Then you've found your tribe. Join the movement. Welcome to Not the Same as Last Year.
Hello and welcome to Not the Same as Last Year. I'm your podcast host, Clare Forestier, and I'm also an event host, an MC for business events. This podcast is all about the attendee-first experience at events, where we prioritise the needs and desires of the attendees above all else. It is a philosophy that shifts the focus from simply putting on an event to creating a valuable and engaging experience for the people who attend, ultimately leading to higher attendee satisfaction, loyalty, and event success. In my last session, we talked to Liz Lathan from the Community Factory about how building a community around your event can create an amazing experience for your attendees. She shared how important it is to increase attendee interaction through roundtable discussions, unconference sessions, and attendee-led sessions, among many other things. So if you missed it, do check it out. And actually, it leads me nicely on to today and what we're going to be talking about. I want to ask you, how much of a say do you give your attendees at events? I mean, most event organisers, let's face it, you guys like to be in control. And as your MC, I am in awe of how efficiently you have programmed every second. Nothing is left to chance in your events. But it can mean that the only choice that exists for your attendees is a number of sessions running concurrently that they can select to attend. So here's an idea. Why not relinquish more control? Why not let your attendees curate their own experience? Think of it like modern working. We no longer need to be worker bees under the watchful eyes of a line manager at all times. We can actually work from home now and get shit done because we are grown-ups, as are your attendees. So let's talk today about letting your attendee breathe and choose and feel in control at your event. This philosophy, which I'm calling let your attendee take the wheel, is about acknowledging that people attending our events crave autonomy and a sense of control over our experience. Feeling like they're being talked at instead of being part of a conversation can leave them feeling disengaged and frustrated. So let's explore some ways to really let you relinquish some control, empower your attendees, and ultimately lead to actually a better, more memorable, fulfilling time for everyone. So why should you give your audience control? Well, think about it. We've all been there, right? Stuck in a conference room, bombarded with information in a one-way lecture format. Maybe you end up struggling to stay awake. Perhaps you are itching to ask a question, but you feel a bit awkward if you interrupted. Because, that is the way it feels. Being passive like that can actually be really disengaging and frustrating. And there's actually a lot of research around now that suggests that when the need for autonomy is satisfied, people in general will feel more engaged and happy. So in events, that is going to translate as people want to feel their presence and participation matters. If you give up some of the control and you allow the attendees to design their own experience, you're going to create just a better time for everyone. So how do we do this? How do we go about empowering our attendees? So it could mean, making sure you really just get feedback and advice from attendees and you actually act on it to improve your next event. Or it could mean really engaging the attendee before the event to get involved and pick the kind of things that they will want to do. So, pre-event, ditch generic surveys. Go beyond the how satisfied were you with your coffee kind of questions. really get to crafting some interactive surveys that are going to sort of go a little bit deeper into what your attendees like. Ask them about things like even their networking style. Are you an introvert? Do you prefer small group discussions, or are you an extrovert? Do you feel comfortable jumping into large gatherings? Do you find it easy to make friends? Could we help you with a buddy system? All those kind of questions. And of course, obviously, also ask them about the kind of things they want to be talking about, the kind of formats they like. Now you can really consider this idea of content co-creation, which is you stop dictating the agenda from your event planning ivory tower. You really let the attendee get involved in shaping what's going to happen at the event. It could mean allowing them to submit session ideas or vote on a variety of pre-selected topics, so you pick the best one. Really imagine how excited they could be if they arrived at your event going, I picked this session, I helped shape this. Things I've said are going to make this event the way it is. You could also make some unconference sessions, which I think we talked about in the last episode with Liz, which is smaller, focused discussions created on site by the participants themselves, and they then pitch and host the sessions. And you then really get an idea for the kind of subjects people are going to pitch and run. During the event, when that actually happens, embrace things being flexible. I know that's hard to do. Ditch that kind of rigid single track agenda. This must happen at this time, this, and this. Instead, offer choose your own adventure blocks with multiple short concurrent sessions on different themes, giving attendees freedom to tailor their experience based on their interests and their needs. And as well, why not try and be brave enough to schedule a session where you are going to workshop popular issues which attendees will have voted on. Yes, you're going to need a good moderator to facilitate it because it might all be happening on the day, but it is a brilliant way to allow your attendees to pick their big issue. And now for real-time engagement. Yes, technology can absolutely be your friend here. I know sometimes I sound negative about it. It's only when it's used as the only opportunity for engagement. Live polling, Q&A tools allow you to keep interacting and participating all the way through the event. And if you do it in a way that is encouraging people, they will feel that they can mark up something after, go, yeah, I like that, I didn't like that, I'd like a bit more of this on day 2. And if you then are actually actively responding to that, so day 2 is reflecting what they told you on day 1, they will get the message and start putting it in because they know that they're being heard. Open space discussions are really vital too. So again, it's dedicating time for attendee-driven conversations. So as I'm saying, they can propose discussion topics they feel interested in, even in small groups. And this whole thing is letting the attendees feel they have ownership of the event. They are an active contributor, not just a spectator. Now, when you move into after the event, post-event, don't let the conversation end after the closing remarks. You'll know about using surveys and polls to understand attendee feedback. Ask them what resonated with them, what could be improved. But it's also think about how and when you ask for it, because I know not everybody returns those feedback forms. The wonderful Victoria Matey, who's an event psychologist that I'm going to be talking to later on in my podcast episodes, she always suggests that you ask for advice rather than feedback from your attendees, which is a brilliant idea because advice sort of focuses more on solutions. And, people love giving advice, don't they? It feels like a compliment sometimes to be asked to give it. And I don't think feedback forms elicit the same excitement I get when someone says, we love your advice, Claire, we really want to hear from you. It just makes you feel more valuable and your opinions matter if somebody asks for your advice. So, of course, I appreciate you're going to have concerns about the idea of relinquishing control. You have spent months meticulously planning every detail of your event, and the idea of handing things over to a random attendee can probably be very nerve-wracking. But here's the thing, I'm not telling you to throw everything out of the window. It is about striking a balance. It's about thinking of it as a collaboration. So you are curating the overall experience, but you are giving your attendees a real say in how they participate. Because if you think about it, the attendees are the real stars of your event. If you can give them a space where you are allowing them to feel heard and valued, and you give them enough power to choose their own experience of it, it's just going to be win-win for everyone. So I really suggest that you experiment with these ideas and, of course, share your views about it. Put it on LinkedIn, tag me, or use the hashtag not the same as last year, and let's get this conversation going. Remember, your audience are not just there to sit down and be bums on seats. They are the stars of the show. And of course, join me next time for my next episode. I think we're on to episode 7 now. From FOMO to freedom is hybrid, the attendee first solution.
And there you have it. I hope you're inspired to revolutionize the attendee experience at your next event. Ready to dive deeper? Download your free guide, 5 ways to elevate your attendee experience without breaking the bank. The link is in the show notes. Subscribe to Not the Same as Last Year podcast, connect with me, Clare Forestier, on LinkedIn, or visit my YouTube channel for even more tips and insights to make your events a hit with your attendees. Don't forget to leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. Your feedback is going to fuel my mission. Stay tuned next week for another episode packed with inspiring ideas and practical strategies to put your attendee first.